Okay, look, I was not lying. My hair is gray. Okay, it is a very it's dry. It is wet right now, but my hair is gray. It's not green or brown. It's just the lighting makes it look so fucking weird. Yeah, there's a box behind me. It has my makeup. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Hi. This, hold up. I don't think that this is any better. I don't know. I don't know what I look like. I probably look like a nut. Probably look crazy. Yeah. Hi, welcome to my channel or welcome back. Okay. So, today. My husband has been working days, and so that kind of consists of me sleeping mostly. When he works days, I wake up at around 2 o'clock in the morning and then I fall asleep. But like to be honest with you guys, I'm also like on my cycle. I don't have my contacts in. This is the look for the day. Um, it's Butterfly Fairy. Say hi to friends. So yeah, yeah, this is the look for today. And yeah, it's fine. I got this Profusion palette. It's called Kaleidoscope from Walmart. And it's got all of these colors, and I've been using this right here today. I like it. I like it. It's fun. It is going to get pretty cold today, and then it'll get up to about 78 the next couple of days, and then drop down to 32 degrees. So, like whatever. Yeah, it's just like that here. I'm so tired of it. All of my videos being the same. It's like me complaining about the weather, me saying I'm depressed, or me saying I'm tired. Um, so I'm on my cycle right now, but that does make me more depressed and more tired. So I'm just being completely honest with you. As somebody who has a uterus, it kind of fucking sucks. My eyebrows have come back in to an extent, and so I'm so grateful to have my fluffy wolf bitch eyebrows back. Like, you have no idea. I missed them. Totally missed them. I have 3 bags on the other side of this camera that are filled with donation clothes I need to take to. Hi, editing Emily. I didn't take any of those bags to fucking anything because I forgot them at home. Because it started raining and I was so much more worried about the rain. Yeah, I'm a dumb bitch. Okay, carry on. Like a charity shop, a thrift shop somewhere, and yeah, I need to do that. And the reason why I was fucking with my makeup today is because I bought these little like nose ring things on Amazon because I have my nose pierced, and then I've had my septum done for quite some time. It's large enough to stick a toothpick through, but I just put whatever in it, you know what I mean? There's been times where I've stuck feathers in my nose just straight through, and freaked people out because I thought it was funny. But like, everybody has it pierced now. Anyways, I got it pierced when I was like 15 years old. I'm 32. And then at that time, we were all piercing each other's whatevers. Like, I've pierced people's collarbones areas. I've pierced people's septums. I've pierced people's belly buttons. Like, it was just, when we were younger, we were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. People were making tattoo guns out of um, how do you say, the toothbrushes. Yeah, they were making tattoo guns out of toothbrushes and all kinds of stuff. Made many mistakes when I was younger. Made many mistakes, but that's fine. Um, because I'm grateful to be here now. Anyways, so okay, so I need to today at some time take those bags to some place out of my house and get them the fuck out of my house. And then from there, I need to go and do my laundry. There is a superstition about doing the laundry on the 1st or the New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, that if you wash your laundry on New Year's Day, you wash all of your luck away or something like that. And not to be like a superstitious cunt, but I'm kind of a superstitious cunt. So yeah, not to be superstitious, but I am superstitious. So yeah, I don't really care. Uh, like I didn't do the laundry yesterday. And so yeah, I got this brand of wireless headphone from um Amazon, and it's really good. It is a noise canceling headphone. I think it's called like, I don't know, sound. I'll put the name right here. It's called that. Holy shit! Like it. I take it into the stores with me now, and I have them on, and nobody fucks with me. Everyone gets out of my way. My anxiety has dropped. It's so funny. I put on music, ambient music from The Hobbit, from the Shire, on, and I'll go into stores filled with people, and it's just like woodwind, like flutes singing and birds chirping and like The Hobbit like music, and then just mass chaos around me, and I'm just like mentally in the Shire, physically in hell. But it works. So those are really amazing. They have like three. They're called Soundcore. There we go, Soundcore. Um, they have three noise canceling options. There's like a little bit of noise, a medium bit of noise, and no noise, or something like that. But they work really, really well. I can't hear anything, and other than my music mostly, or like if it's like my kids are on a video game, I could barely hear them kind of hooting and hollering, you know what I mean? Which is kind of fascinating for me personally. Yeah, my husband will be home in about 45 minutes, so I just have to get ready. I fucking hate when he works days, because it is the worst creatively, it is the worst productively for my cycles. When he works nights, it's fabulous. It's fantastic. It is immaculate and beautiful. Um, it works very well for me, with me, whatever. But yeah. Today I've been listening to like dark folklore and fucking around with my makeup. The reason I wasn't fucking around with my makeup is because, I'm sorry, I don't know if I told you or not, or if I just showed you and then I lost track. I have new nose rings in, and here's the thing. I had very tiny studs in my nose holes, and then to take them out, I had to almost gauge them, and that was extraordinarily frustrating. And then to put new rings in, I had to gauge them. So there was a couple of days where my fucking nose was flared up and aggravated, which is fine. But yeah, so then I had to put really big nose rings in. I had to take some like anti-inflammatory, blah blah blah, like ibuprofen, acetaminophen, whatever, because it was painful. And then I have like spoiled blood, so it is like, if it's not gold or silver or stainless steel, it will react negatively. So it's always like a very scary process to like replace jewelry that I've gotten online from someplace. Ugh, you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, there's that. That always sucks to find out that your nose holes are angry at you. Your piercings, that's what they're called. They're piercings. Your piercings are angry at you. That's always aggravating. But yeah, I think what happened was I don't know, I get into these moods, and it's fine. It's totally cool. Like, we all get into moods, right? But I get into these moods, I don't know, it's like back in the day when there was static on TV, sometimes I get into these static kind of moods, these transitional moods where I don't feel and I do feel everything and anything all at once. And I'm processing almost like other people's emotions, it feels like I'm doing work for other people. And it's bullshit. Um I Yesterday I was trying to record, but then I kept getting like, I was in that static mode, like stuck between thoughts and trying to get them out, and I couldn't do it. I just could not do it, and I felt kind of pressured to record. um but then I was also like, you know what, just delete everything and restart. Like, what's who gives a fuck? Like, honestly, who gives a fuck? And if they care about you, then they'll stick around, and it doesn't matter. And the people who don't care will leave, and you should not feel a certain way about people leaving. So yeah. So yeah. Um so yesterday something very interesting happened. I had a feeling that was really weird. It was like 2 points of my life overlapped each other, and I had almost like a deja vu from 12 years ago. The same thing happened yesterday. So it was like something happened in 2011 that made me feel a certain way, and I was like, that's weird. Almost like I saw through to the future, to yesterday me, through my eyes. It was like 2 points of a map overlaying each other and then a hole being poked through them. That's what it felt like. That's the only way I could explain it. It was a strange form of consciousness, and it made me consider that sometimes our consciousness is not always just ours. Sometimes it is a mixture of I call it the flaky biscuit theory, that the universe is not linear. It's more like a flaky biscuit with many holes and lines and layers and flakes, but universally it is a biscuit. It's a biscuit. Not like a biscuit like in the UK, not a cookie, a biscuit, as in like a biscuit. So I have a theory that I've coined, the flaky biscuit theory. And so with the flaky biscuit theory, we have these moments in our lives, at least for me, I find it to be true. I don't really understand you or like what you find it to be true, but if it resonates with you, it'll resonate with you. There's moments that feel like deja vu, but there's also moments where it feels like I look into a future version of myself. Like my brain works so fast that it jumps decades into like it's almost like an anxiety thing where my brain like rapidly will map out the future in a moment's time, in a millisecond, in a fraction of a second. My brain, boom, the whole entire how this could work out, a second of my, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like looking in a very clear black mirror that is very still. It is like looking at a truth, but looking at a projected truth for many years in the future. And not knowing all the bits and bobs and odds and ends of how I'm going to get there, but seeing it and then feeling it and then absorbing it and being like, wow, what the fuck was that? So that happened to me yesterday. And I know that's a very strange thing to try to consider explaining with my mouth. Um, Visually, I think it would be easier if I visually showed it to you. But yeah, so that's just what I call it. For many years, I've called it the flaky biscuit theory, where it's like time is not linear and your experiences are not linear, but they are mostly like all over, like you could skitter up and down and through things in general. I don't know. Something like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, I had a very strange experience yesterday, and it reminded me of yesterday. I had almost I got to the point where 12 years ago I saw myself being, and I was like, how the fuck could I have ever known in that moment that I would be here at this moment now? It's not deja vu because it's not like, oh, I've been here before. It's like projected deja vu. It doesn't make sense to me. And there's not a word that I have run into that describes it in the English language. Friends. I love how I have them above my bed. Anyways, so it's strange. So in the past, when I had that moment that came full circle yesterday for me, I was going through a very dark time, and I was isolated. Saturn was in my 12th house, and I was confused. I was isolated. I thought I was going insane. I felt mad. I felt alone. I felt all of these strange feelings. I felt like I was looking at consciousness as it came at me, like through it. Like if consciousness was a river, it's like my eyes were open and it was flowing this way, and I was just looking upstream while it was coming downstream. Does that make sense? I had a very strange moment in my life, and I was going through a lot. I was going through a lot of traumatizing things. I was also going through trying to heal things that had already happened in the past in my childhood. I was living in an area that I used to live in when I was a child, so I had these strange memories coming up out of the like cauldron of memory, coming up and floating up to the surface when I would go to neighborhoods and areas. I would get this strange like parts of my brain were getting lit up that were so, I guess, is dormant, and it was a very confusing time. It was a very, very, very confusing time for me. Um, Sorry, you guys know how I fuck with my hair when I get nervous. So yeah, it was just extraordinarily confusing. I was in my early 20s. I was alone mostly. I was far away from my friends, and I didn't have a lot of help physically. Now, mentally and spiritually, I had tons of help. And of course, people nowadays really like the words like a spiritual psychosis. That's what people call it a lot of the times when you feel like you're awakening spiritually. I think it's extraordinarily rude because not everybody is fucking crazy who has a spiritual experience. And of course, the whole entire universe of America will tell you that you are, but Americans run off of anxiety, death, and fear. So I feel like anything that an American really says is null and void when it comes to like spiritual thinking, because we're babies. We have a very small like understanding spiritually, because we're only allowed to be a certain way. You're only allowed to be productive, you're only allowed to be fearful and riddled with anxiety, you're only allowed to ingest propaganda, you're only allowed to to feel completely attacked and insecure at every given moment. If you feel fully okay with who you are, you're probably not American. Probably not living in America. It's just, America is a very strange place to live. It's a strange place to be. You must always devour propaganda, eat and shit propaganda 100% of your life living here. And then also you must pump it out as well and telephone game it to your friends and family to infect them with fear and worry and confusion and lies. And so it is like, I feel like I live in static, because the whole entire universe around me is a strange static place. Why? I don't know why they do that. They're just kind of big mean assholes, and they're mean old men without a mommy. So anyways, other than that, in other cultures they have they have a better understanding of spiritual practices and things like that, but because we're such babies here in America, we think we know things, we don't know things, and if you do know something, you don't, kind of thing. It's a very confusing place. Anyways, so back in 2011, 2012, I was going through like a lot of shifts and changes, I think, as the whole entire universe was around me. People were concerned about the world ending. People were living in fear. Nothing new in America. Nothing new. People were so, they were driven by such fear and anxiety that it was making them make decisions. It was a, lambs to a slaughter kind of thing. You start out very wide. You have this beautiful ability to see very far. You could see the entire forest for all the trees. You could see the plains through the plains and past the plains. But then the fear and anxiety make you really narrow into a very fine, place, and it's to the slaughterhouse. You know what I mean? Like, all your hopes and dreams slowly, as soon as you catch the fear and you ride it, it leads you to one place, and it is, to lose yourself, to lose your soul, to lose who you are. It leads you away from your true path of whatever you are supposed to be doing here, whatever you want to do, your passions, your divine spark and light, love, unity, healing, all of that shit kind of gets, all that shit. It's actually good stuff. It's not shit, but it gets turned to shit, and then you get forced into like mass decomposition of the soul into your just gray matter that don't matter, or something like that. But I was going through a strange time, and I was very confused. I was very scared, and I was having a lot of moments alone. Saturn in the 12th house, sometimes people end up in jail, astrologically speaking. Sometimes people end up in mental institutions, or they end up going to monasteries. They go on pilgrimages out of where they were born. They go to foreign lands someplace foreign to you. It could even be a different town, a different state, a different country, a different place, or even mentally a different place mentally, a different mental space, you know? Um, it is very nerve-wracking to have Saturn in your 12th house, if it's not natally there. And it is very scary. It is very scary. You feel, another thing, you feel directly linked to martyrdom. You feel directly linked to anything that bad happens. You feel you are the cause of it because I did something. I was the purpose of the horrible thing happening in the world, and that's not true. It's not true. There's many falsehoods that you believe and many lies that look like truths, and then also many strange things within consciousness. So when Saturn was in my 12th house, I was alone. I was feeling like I was going insane. I was feeling strange because I was having dreams that were happening the next day. Like I had a dream that there was a cop by my window side, and then he was like looking into the window or whatever, and I was like, that's such a weird dream. In the morning, I woke up, I told my husband about it, and I said, hey, isn't that a strange dream? I had the dream there was a cop outside of our window looking in. And then he went to work that day, and his boss said, hi, there's going to be a new cop, but it's an undercover cop, and they're going to be staying here at this apartment complex. So don't be afraid if you see him looking in through your windows. He's just undercover looking for something. It has nothing to do with us, but he needs to be here for a different purpose or an operation. My husband called me and he was like, what the fuck was that? You know? And so things like that would happen. I would have strange dreams, and then I would I would have strange dreams, and then they would kind of happen. And so I was consciously in a very strange place and space in my brain and in reality, whatever. Which is ironic because in those moments I saw who I was yesterday in that same time and space. I saw forward to the future, and there was no way I could have seen here now. It's strange, you know. I don't know. It's weird. It's all very weird. Anyways, consciousness is strange. So back then, I was like in a very strange place, strange waters. The 12th house, astrologically speaking, it is strange waters. There are strange angels that live there. It is strange, peculiar, and people with a lot of 12th house placements, they seem to be otherworldly. They seem to live in a place that is not here nor there. They seem to be everywhere and anywhere and nowhere all at once. They seem to channel such a beautiful and divine kind of light through their eyes that is peculiar. And when you do get to stay there for a little bit in your 12th house waters, personally in your own birth chart, it can make you feel like you're going insane sometimes, or that, like I said, that you're under the river, your eyes are open, you could see the water flowing at you, you're looking upstream while it's flowing downstream, like you're in the stream of consciousness, looking at it through it, and looking at all parts of it. If you turn to your right, you'll be able to see the stream moving this way and what that looks like. And if you turn to your left, you'll see it. You know what I mean? The different fractal pieces of the crystalline structure of, I don't know, the light that comes through. It's just very strange, very peculiar. It's hard to explain it with your mouth. You have to experience it. You have to think about it, and you have to go into it and observe it, really. And whenever it comes through your brain and you see it and you observe it with your eyes, and it goes into here and gets all jumbled up and tries to come out of here, sometimes it just doesn't make sense. And so you sound mad, you sound crazy, you sound bonkers, you sound like you've been kind of pixie-led or fae touched, or just been interacting with another complete dimension for far too long. You sound sci-fi, you sound otherworldly, you don't sound normal. You sound mad, you sound crazy. You sound like you need to take a 2-week paid vacation to Grippy Socks Land, and that's not true. Not always, at least. There is a part of us that is not easy to communicate with vocally. It has to be felt. I think that it's also very hormonal. It has to be sensed. There are other parts of the body that pick it up and make sense of those sensations. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that the universe is just what you could see all the time or what you can explain all the time. Sometimes it is a secret third thing. And yeah, it's confusing. Of course it is. The entire existence is confusing. Like, how the fuck did we even get here? You know, nobody really knows anything. We just assume. Even archaeologists with their big brains and their fine tools are not completely certain on everything. And, you know, they fight over what they find in the dirt, much like dogs over a bone. And they don't even know, truly. Truly. They just assume and speculate and then provide speculations. And of course, some people narcissistically believe wholeheartedly that their belief is truth, and it's just, you know, it's just one platter on the divine banquet, the feast in front of us of sensations and pleasures. It's all very confusing. And I would be a liar if I said it was not confusing. It is confusing being a human. It is confusing being alive. It is confusing having consciousness. It is confusing trying to explain certain things that are not always here nor there, you know? Having dreams, that's a confusing thing as well. Uh, you know, whatever. But yeah. So I was trying to make a video on that yesterday. This is so stupid. I was trying to make a video on that yesterday, right? And then I couldn't get it out of my mouth. I couldn't be like, in 2011, I had like a vision of myself now, and then it happened now, yesterday. And it made me think about how I was then, what I was going through, and reminiscing on the trials and tribulations I was dealing with. Um, Releasing preconceived beliefs that things were a certain way, trying to integrate into a group of people that were more spiritual than I was, that I thought that they were than I was, and then being confused by all of these things, being connected in a beautiful way to one of my best friends, even though she was miles and miles and miles away, hundreds of miles away. We were sending snail mail to each other, we were sending letters to each other, and then also reminiscing on like how now we barely talk to each other, and it's so confusing. Like, our lives have been so parallel in so many ways, and thinking about that, how certain people will unconsciously live lives parallel to us, and it makes you wonder, like, how much of our consciousness is really us and how much of it is a subconscious jarbling of a mixture of other consciousness. You know, almost like the idea of Jiminy Cricket kind of in Pinocchio, like, da, 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 you know, how much of that Jiminy Cricket is actually not us, and it is actually us tuning in and interacting with another person's consciousness, you know, and kind of telepathically speaking to each other and trying to help each other. I think that's just a nicer way to think of things. Like, maybe we are all very much connected through brainwaves, and maybe the human collective consciousness is definitely more of a hive mind than we like to think. And on a subconscious level, we can talk to each other, much like the trees and the mycelium, how they use those channels to interact under the soil. I think that humans can speak to each other through subconscious ways. And that's kind of what I was trying to talk about yesterday, but I kept deleting the footage because it wasn't making sense. I'm probably not making sense now, but there was some very clear things that I knew were not my own consciousness speaking to me. And it wasn't like, first of all, I thought I was going crazy, but then second of all, it wasn't lying. It wasn't lying. It wasn't a negative form of consciousness. It was actually extremely beneficial. and more like a mentor. And so some people could say, well, maybe you were picking up the frequency of Saturn itself. Sure, why not? I mean, everything has a frequency, everything vibrates to an extent, allegedly. So maybe, yeah, maybe, of course, sure, why not? Um, if everything is possible and anything is possible, then that is definitely a possibility, correct? But to another extent, I don't think it was just Saturn. I think that it was a mixture of Saturn and Mercury in a certain way. So you can then argue, like, well, things within sometimes are also outside of ourselves. So around that time, yeah, I was very connected to Saturn and Mercury, and I was receiving also this kind of transmission from a Saturnine, Saturn-like Mercurial um, consciousness, receiving a transmission that was Saturn-like and Mercurial at the same time, and it helped me through a lot of um, difficulties that otherwise I don't think I could have got along with on my own. So then it gets into a very dangerous area where, in like the Americanized way of thinking, it's we'll go to the psychiatrist and devour pills. We will take a dartboard and we'll put a smorgasbord of pills on there, and we'll throw darts at them, and then we'll feed them to you bi-monthly until we see what sticks and fits with you, until these voices stop or whatever. But it wasn't always voices. Sometimes it was images or feelings or just strange sensations. Then, of course, I worked at a metaphysical shop from 2017 until about 2020, 2021-ish, 2020, something like that. And what I found was a book by Cindy Dale called Raising Clairaudient Energy. And clairaudience became something that was very, very important to me. Understanding that there are sensations and things that are and are not. And it just started making more sense, the experiences that I've had personally myself. Now, of course, they're personal experiences. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you to believe in me or listen to me. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just sharing. That's all I'm doing. I'm just sharing. But where do artists get their inspiration from? Where do writers pull from? There's a horde of divine consciousness somewhere out there over the rainbow. And it kind of makes you think sometimes, like, how it all fits together in the grand tapestry of what is and what is not, The places that are negative spaces and the places that are filled spaces, how they interact with each other and how they create avenues within like our brain's unconscious mind. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. So yesterday I was trying to film. I was trying to speak about this, and I couldn't talk about it. It was just strange. Like something was stopping me, and I felt very insecure about it because I did not want to be perceived as a bonkers bitch. But then also, who gives a fuck? What are you gonna do? Come and draw and quarter me? You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. And so that, yeah, the fear of being perceived publicly and then also taken out of existence is something that I've struggled with my entire life. I've had a huge fear about being hunted down and exploited and then also axed. You know what I mean? That's a personal thing that I've struggled with. So public speaking really scared the shit out of me for a while. And then it got to the point where I was like, you know what? If I have something to say, I need to just say it. So I made this YouTube channel. But also because the reality that one day I will not exist in the physical form anymore. And it might be nice for my children to kind of look back and laugh at their mother. So to have some kind of digital, physical remnant of myself online. You're so itchy. To have a digital, physical remnant of myself online, it became important for me to actually record some of the nonsense. So that's why I'm doing this here. But yeah, so yesterday I had a very strange experience, and then today I wanted to talk about how it made me feel and what it reminded me of. Around the year 2012, I did start a very huge journey on trusting myself and trusting the kind of consciousness that was developing within myself, and tuning into it and understanding what those voices were saying. And they weren't voices like speaking, they were more like feelings and thoughts and experiences and lessons. It was very much mentorship from something unseen. It was like I was being guided by a hand that was not physical. It was something completely different. And yeah, and I'm very grateful for it. So yeah, I don't know. And part of me misses the kind of isolation, but the other part of me understands the kind of like psychotic shit I was going through personally. It was too much. I know one day Saturn will be back in my 12th house. And so I will be in those places and spaces again. But I mean, it was just such a scary, strange experience. It was very, very scary. Because how can you explain to somebody something like that? I don't think you can. I think it's better to be seen and witnessed and gone through individually. And then eventually, like I did, I found other people who were having very, very similar experiences. And then I showed them the book, Raising Clairaudient Energy. So I don't know. And then it helped them throughout their experiences. So I hope they're doing well wherever they're at today. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been going through. Reminiscing about the future past. Does that make sense? Okay, probably not. Anyways, I guess I'll see you guys later. Okay, goodbye.